Thanks, Ken. And that's a trip down memory lane. He kept one wall in a den of our house near Ypsilanti with such pictures as that. He also coached at a country club in the Detroit area and had a lot of photos of little kids in purple bathing suits, and so that was really fun, and I really appreciate the opportunity to come and give you a few remarks about really sort of a transformational guy in the sport of swimming in this conference and in the state of Michigan, and really countrywide. I do want to take a minute to thank the really terrific administration folks from Eastern Michigan. Dr. Talia Drummer is here. She's the Assistant Athletic Director for Athletic Support. Heather Like is the Athletic Director. Chris Hoppy is the Senior Associate AD. Dr. Ed Sidlow is the faculty representative. And then we have our terrific student athletes, Anna and Chris, who are here as well. And I really appreciate the opportunity to come from the Mid-American Conference. This is a conference that has a lot to be proud of, both academically and in the sports arena. I also want to introduce my wife, Mary Lee, and my daughters, Clara and Meg. My brother, Jay, unfortunately could not make it here. He lives in Traverse City, and the press of the medical business, he's a physician, just couldn't make it down. But I am to understand, with the wonder of technology now, we are FaceTiming the whole event here. And he's getting to watch this, at least this part of the proceedings tonight, and we really appreciate it. My mom has also passed more recently, and I'll get to that in a minute. But most really, what's very important to me and to all of us here is to celebrate athletics and scholarship in this terrific conference. And it's very important to do that. It's very important to celebrate yourselves and your achievements because it keeps the energy and enthusiasm of this kind of endeavor. There's lots of things to do in the world that don't involve sports, but all of us are connected with sports, and we're connected with athletics, and every one of us knows the kind of dedication and the kind of stick-to-itiveness and the ability to overcome all manner of obstacles that sports presents to us that applies later in life, whether or not we ever pick up a dumbbell or swim in a pool or try to catch a pass. So on to Mike Jones. This is an unusual route to becoming a swimming coach. He, in high school and in college at Eastern Michigan, at the time called Michigan State Normal College, a teacher's college, as we know what a normal college is. He was he was a varsity baseball player there. He also played a lot of hockey growing up. He graduated there and took a job at a small high school in Michigan called Hazel Park. He was teaching industrial ed, and he had the job as the freshman football coach. Yes, freshman football, having never played it, but this is how it was working out at Hazel Park. His best friend, also a teacher there, was the swimming coach, and that guy wanted to get into coaching football, so he proposed to my dad, let's switch. Well, my dad's figuring, I don't know anything more about swimming than I do about football, but that job pays better. I'll take that job. And so he did so, and then learned on a very steep learning curve, and became the outstanding coach that he did. He learned a lot in a very short period of time. His teams got really good, and he was lured back to Eastern Michigan for that second master's degree, and to become the assistant coach for 1 year, and then he coached, of course, for so many years. And that reminds me then to the term coach. There was no distinction with Mike Jones between the term coach and the term human being. You could not tell the difference. He was always a coach, no matter what. My brother and I were coached in life and coached in athletics, especially in swimming, by him, but so were countless other people and all the great student athletes at Eastern. He was obsessively curious about getting better as a coach and as a sort of an academic scholar of the sport of swimming. And he would talk to anyone, anywhere, anytime about swimming, only if you were willing, and sometimes even if you weren't. Jay tells a story, my brother Jay tells a story of getting totally fired up, sitting in our den, listening to him recruit swimmers over the phone. And of course, in the sport of swimming, you don't have a big cast of other coaches and recruiting staff to go feather out to places to talk to the high school students individually. So many nights after dinner, he was on the phone for hours and hours. My brother Jay, who swam for him at Eastern, got just absolutely bowled over by the excitement of becoming an athlete and a swimmer there. I happened to graduate from another university, got a chemical engineering degree, and I can recall many times driving up north to our cabin in northern Michigan for those rare respites of beach, sand, and golf. And he would quiz me about the Bernoulli principle and laminar and turbulent flow as we were driving up, because he wanted to learn more about and figure out how to make that angle of the arm and the elbow and the hand do better for his swimmers. But most importantly, I think the effect that he had on the conference, on Eastern Michigan, and most importantly, his swimmers, his record speaks volumes, but there's really, when you peel back the onion, there's a lot more that's there. And I won't spend a lot of time. I know I'm probably running a little long. But it was a very family-oriented program that he ran. Very early on, well before this became the vogue, he instituted a drug recognition program and helped his student athletes understand the evils of drugs and that kind of substance abuse. My mother sacrificed a lot. The swimmers, her name was Judy, and they nicknamed her Big Bad Jude because she would just make sure that these swimmers that come from all over the place were well taken care of. They felt like it was home. They felt like it was okay to be in Ypsilanti. And she really did a lot to sacrifice herself for the program and for my dad. He, of course, created great swimmers. My brother being one of them. My brother was a 4-time 200 butterfly champion. That is a pretty rare event. It has been done, and there's lots of swimmers, well, a few swimmers in the Mid-American Conference that's done that. But he's one of them, and I'm very proud of him for that. Where's my Miami table here? Here, the Cradle of Coaching is a nice moniker, a well-known moniker for Miami University, and I'm happy to say my daughter goes there, my youngest. My dad created the Cradle of Coaching for swimming coaches because I will tell you there is a tremendous number of coaches, high school coaches in Michigan and throughout the Midwest who came out of his program, and he really was very proud of that legacy as well. He was very loyal to Eastern Michigan. He had many opportunities, as you can imagine, with the kind of success that he had to go elsewhere. He chose not to. And there's only one big regret on that score was he had been selected to be an assistant coach to the U.S. Olympic team in 1980. And for those of us with enough gray hair, remember what happened to the U.S. Olympic team in 1980. It was supposed to be held in Russia, and the Russians had invaded Czechoslovakia. So I'm going to close with the quote that he said, and I think this really does him great justice. He said, "Imagine being basing a successful career on the judgment, decision-making, and discipline of a group of 18 to 22-year-old males." Thank you very much. We really appreciate this.